Good morning. So I hope my subscribers are exciting towards the next chapter of the bicycle series and maybe the origin story. But before that, I have decided to create more samples for the same reasons that I've already outlined, just to see the various containers. To get a hang of it. So we will take samples from 4 containers, 5 samples from 4 containers. Of course, scientifically we should have taken much more, but I don't have the time and actually even not the energy to take like a video that it will be thoroughly, cover more than 5 samples. So we'll take 5. So I will explain exactly what kind of containers are we dealing with, because they are kind of like new in the context of the last couple of days. Okay? This container was prepared very early, maybe as early as April. And it's kind of like there is a history behind it, because it contained a lot of oil actually, and also quite a bit of silan, which is kind of like a date, made out of dates, like date, the sugary fruit. It is called dates, so date extract. So date extract sugar, which is something that I don't put I didn't put lots in my containers, and this makes this prone to more than other containers to the development of actually biological life forms. But it's pretty much airtight, so there is no much air circulation. I've opened it in the past to take samples and I've seen all sorts of interesting things, but for the last at least months or no, it was completely closed. So let's open it now. Maybe we should do it with an open window. It is partly open. So this will be first. Okay. Ooh, it's very tightly closed. What kind of monsters will we find in it, I don't know, but let's check it out. Of course, many Neros, and after also for kind of magnetic treatments, but this is history now. It's documented in the channel. Let's not get into it. It's closed for more than a month, sealed, maybe 2 months even, because I didn't use it a lot. So this will be the first candidate, the first one. Another one is this is kind of like a terrarium. It contains very, very little liquid, so it's very different than all other containers that I ever had. It's contains very little liquid that comes from the aquarium, like the original aquarium, with various life forms and Neros. But besides this, the water from the aquarium, which is very, very small amount, it mostly contains things that you can find in terrariums, just dirt and pieces of wood, pieces of leaves from the ground, rotten apple, rotten tomatoes, maybe corpses of bugs they took just from outside, here, near the hostel, small branches of wood, and also mixture from the ground. I should say that initially, after I opened it after not long, and I've seen that it doesn't seem to me like there is something that really starting to brew there. Certainly from the perspective of the synthetic life forms and the Neros, but quite a bit of time actually passed, and it was sealed, but it's not 100% sealed because of the way of the box. So it's one of the containers that are not completely sealed, but it was pretty sealed, but not 100% airtight. And again, this one is different because there was very little liquid. It's mostly, again, stone, dirt from the ground, and leaves, things like that. This one, originally, it contained, you see the small, it's similar to the two big ones that we've checked in the not the previous examination, but the one before, like 2 days ago. But I used most of the water for the most of the liquid for these experiments, the metal containers that I will describe in a minute, and I replenished it mostly with my pee. So this one contained mostly pee and a little bit of it smells just like pee. It's disgusting. And a little bit of the material that we've seen in the containers that came directly from the aquarium that I mentioned a lot. And so it's interesting to see what was developed over there. So what do we have here? So about I don't know, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, I guess, or 3 weeks ago, it was documented the followers in the channel. I decided to create metal containers which are highly magnetic, because there are magnets typically both on the bottom and one glued to the top. I've had five of these, but this is the larger one. There are 4 more just here. I don't want to it's kind of disgusting. I don't want to, so just a second. Okay, so these are the 4 containers, metal ones. They are all very magnetic, and they are. It's documented how we created them here in this channel. They are very rich, very rich in wax, the beeswax, and beeswax with honey. This thing here. The beeswax was melted, and I cooked it. I cooked it actually with more material because I also used wax that was. That after enrichment of the neros, and the only issue of enriching wax with neros is a huge subject, and I don't know. Again, I'm kind of I cannot repeat everything that I ever said in this channel, because there was so much that I recorded and documented. So you just need to watch these videos, but you can enrich the wax, you can enrich all sorts of fuels, including beeswax, with the neros and make it much more potent. In all sorts of ways, and specifically it can burn much better and in much greater than for the same amount of wax that without this enrichment. And they can actually the neros and the robots can actually enhance fuels in a tremendous way. This was documented in many experiments, in many videos. Try to get the videos from the Israelis if they are still blocking this channel. But anyway, the purpose of these experiments was not to create specifically. I want to create worms inside the wax, not microscopic, living worms, of course, non-carbon based from the wax, and which was very interesting. But these experiments are not aimed at enriching the wax. What they are aimed at is to see how what's the behavior of the nero, and the nero juice that was taken from the aquarium. So it contains both neros and life forms, from the original aquarium, ecosystem that they call the aquarium. That was the basis of many of these containers. Not that one, but this one and the ones that we've already inspected. But mostly, what we have in these containers is magnet, pretty big magnets. And now the relationship between the neros and magnets is a huge subject. And again, I spoke about it a lot in the past. And you just need to watch the videos. I cannot reiterate everything. It's not. And I don't have like even a way to say it like in one sentence because it's very complicated. There is like very important like a relationship between like magnets and the robots. Like they can, it's a huge issue. It can enhance electrolysis in very demonstrable way that I've actually documented and proved. But also, I mean, it can help them to work in all sorts of ways that I'm not entirely sure exactly how, but. Anyway, these are highly magnetized, it's contains relatively big magnets and a thick layer of wax and also a little bit of clay, of like dried clay. So, and we have five of them. They are not exactly the same from mixture point of view. I will only open the biggest one. They were also sealed with glue, so it might be actually difficult for me to open it right now. I will see how I'm able to open it. Maybe I will need to use like a screwdriver or something. These were centrally totally airproof, like airtight, and with little air to begin with because it was almost like filled to the top with material, with, as I said, the mixed wax and honey wax and water from the aquarium and big magnets and and clay. So since it's kind of like an issue to open it, I will just open the larger one and we will see what's inside. So I'll do it in front of you, and hopefully I'll also take the videos. I will also watch the samples in the same video. So it might be like a little bit cumbersome now because I'm going to prepare the slides just in front of you. I want it to be done in one video, without too much preparations and without taking like previously. As it was in the last two videos, we'll just take sample. We'll watch it under the microscope, without me knowing nothing at all in advance. So it will be completely random sample and presumably quick one, but it will take me a couple of minutes to actually prepare the slides. So please be patient. This is how it looks like. This is the very old container, even though it was opened for experiments, but at least months or two it's kept closed. You see this kind of mold that probably does not require oxygen because it was airtight. This is the aquarium that was not 100% airtight. It was closed, but not 100% airtight. So you see the mold in top of the terrarium. This is the terrarium, not aquarium. This is the pee. This is mostly my pee and a little bit water from the aquarium. And now let's open it and put it under and put it on slides and covers. So please be patient because I'm doing it intentionally in front of the camera because I want it to be one video and to finish with it as quickly as possible, and then maybe we can continue with the bicycle series that I hope you want to conclude, and also start with the origin story, which is also important and also historical, as I said many times. So let's, without much speech, let's start. Of course, each of these containers deserves much more than one sample, but again, this is just an overview, quick overview of where we stand, and to see if there is something very peculiar that I need to address. It's far from being exhaustive, research and analysis of these containers. I'm using this one because they are, just from the box, they are one, hard for me, to be used once and to throw. Maybe I'll take a small piece of the mold. No, because from my experience, mold is not good visually under the microscope. It's not really a good idea because you don't get good results under the microscope. Because it's a backlight microscope, so it needs to be even transparent or translucent at least, the material, in order to actually see something. this is one. Each time I'm doing this kind of movement in my room, I'm getting this hang beep from the car. You've heard it right now. This is not only here in the hostel. It's like it for years, in whatever apartment. Because according to the psychological theory of the Shabak, if every time that I do this, there will be a horn from a car, I will convert to homosexuality eventually, or lose my mind. Both are primary objectives of the Shabak for many years now. This is not a joke. This is just the way it is. This is how they treat me, and this is how they treat their targets. It's not a joke. It's just like that. So like a very big thing was stuck to this stick. I don't know what it is, but it's certainly not microscopic. I do want to wash it under the microscope, so I try to get rid of, to make it leave the stick, so we can put a cover. See, it's not microscopic. It's big, pretty big, but I want to know what it is. Come on. Okay. So it's out. Maybe you can see it. It's not microscopic. Okay, so this was the second one. Now let's take it one from the terrarium. I'll do it with a screwdriver. So this is all. It's difficult to take sample from it because it's just it's totally so hard because it's terrarium. Let's do whatever we can. Mostly the way to do it is with alcohol. As a solvent, or kind of like because you need some kind of liquid. So take a little bit more, and then we will add a little bit of alcohol to it, because otherwise it will be difficult to see it under the microscope, to watch it under the microscope. So just a second, and I'll put it I'll do it just a second. So this is alcohol 70%. And we need just cotton to clean this screwdriver. You can hear the neighbors, they really like, to have noises and to participate in the experiment and in any other thing that I do. And now it's cleaned, so we can take a little bit of alcohol, just a little bit, and put it on the same slide, because otherwise it will be very difficult to watch anything at all. Okay. And the cover. By the way, it wasn't a joke. It's part of the method, the Soviet method that the Shabak is practicing for many, many years. That the target each time that he's doing like that in his room. He's in his own house. It doesn't matter what room, because they follow me wherever I am. It's for years, so it was like that in my mother's apartment in Rishon. It was like that in Shoam. Every time I do this, I'm hearing either a horn from a car or any other kind of noise from the haunted house, because you understand it's a haunted house. Every kind of a device that can make sound, one device is making this sound. This is for years now, years. It's not a joke. It's just like that. If you don't know, ask your Soviet. I'm sure that if you can ask your Russian comrades, in the intelligence services, or maybe their old comrades that remember the KGB. This is something that it's part of the method of how to convert a person to homosexuality, or second best, to make him insane. But this is one of the tenets of the Soviet method and the Shabak method. Each time you do like that, just to pick up something from the ground, you hear something from some kind of a noise. Each time, in your room, or your apartment, your kitchen, wherever you are inside your own apartment or house, wherever you do this, like that, you hear this sound, the horn that you just heard. This is not a joke. This is part of the Soviet terror that is practiced by Shabak for many, many years. That's what they do, and this is the nightmare that I live here. Of course, this terror, has many other aspects. I've already spoken about it quite a bit. Again, please watch these videos because they are important. Now, let's place an alcohol aside and close the containers. Not entirely so, because one of the lessons is that we need some air. And the terrarium. Still. Okay. So now the last one might be difficult, because it's not only hermetically sealed, it is sealed with so I'll do it on the ground, because it's actually very heavy, because the magnet is very, very heavy. I'll do it on the ground, and might take a second. Let's take these papers, we don't need it. Just clean the thing. Again, screwdriver. Just a second. Most of the volume actually is the magnet, I think, or half of the volume is the magnet because it's a very big one. The one that is on the bottom there. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that there is also one on the top. Okay, so it's open now. Let's do the actual open together. So I'll take it again here. And can you see it? Yes, you can. And hope there is no monster in it. Wow, incredibly interesting. So the upper magnet actually was, detached from the top, which makes sense because it wasn't glued very thoroughly. So we will be able to see it right now. Just a second. I place it here, and this one I'll place here. And can you perhaps see it from here? No, you cannot. So I will actually change the gloves because I want to show you exactly how it looks without too much contamination. Just a moment. So this is how it looks. So what we have here is that the white plastic is it's kind of like sorry, no, this one is I didn't put it like two magnets here because I'm afraid that we have two magnets in as I said, the construction is a little bit different between all of the five. This one contains very big magnet glued to the bottom, and on the top there was a mirror. This also has explanation that is related to the symbolic language. I can't speak about it right now. It's a huge subject of its own. So this is actually a mirror, but the mirror felt like it's at some point, even though it's not, from the symbolic point of view, it's not that big deal because there is the mirrors remember the last symbol that they've seen. So unless the destruction, if it's destroyed, but they don't get the new symbol, they will act according to the previous symbol, and they shouldn't have gotten a new symbol because there was no light that entered it. After I closed it, and the way that they interpret same symbols is by visual light. This is a huge subject. I've spoken about it a lot. It was kind of like it's a huge research. It's a huge science of its own. The symbolic language and how to interpret it, and what kind of light they are even used in order to interpret it. It's kind of like so I spoke about it a lot. But anyway, their way of interpretation of the symbols is by viewing it using visual light, which is not trivial because of course they can sense it they have other way of sensing it, and they don't need light specifically in order to operate. Although for some purposes they knew, but for certain they could have just And anyway, light is essential for their interpretation of symbols, even though of course they don't have eyes like humans or other creatures, and they are robots. They have other ways to sense, but the symbolism is interpreted as if, first of all, they look up, mostly also to the sides, but mostly they look up for this up, and up is just when I say up, it means just that they can feel gravity. Up is just, I mean, the opposite way of the gravity. Like, I mean, they know that, I mean, this is down because this is gravity. Gravity pulls them. So up is where the symbol should exist. Like, I mean, for the symbolic, not always. Sometimes it's also on the sides, like, but not down. They look up and to the sides, but mostly up. This is it's a huge issue. I cannot reiterate everything, and I mean, just watch the videos. Anyway, and what you see here, I mean, this layer, the gray layer is melted. It's melted. It's the melted, beeswax, mostly beeswax, and also honey wax, and remnants of like the material from the water from the aquarium. So let's take two samples actually. This one is because it's interesting. It's very, very hard because it's a hard material. Maybe a little more. Maybe I'll take a little bit of, like, where there is more like water, like liquid, so it will be easier to actually watch it under the microscope. Okay, and we use the other end of the stick to take something. This is definitely a worm, by the way, what you see there, but it's too big to see under the microscope. I'm searching for something that, I mean, will allow us like a microscopic work. I don't want to break break the upper layer because I want to return, like, so it will be like to get it back, like, I mean, to place it back. So we'll just take more sample from the other part, like from here. So this looks fine to me. And this one goes to the trash. Okay, so I forgot to put my gloves, so I'll put it now. It doesn't really matter because I didn't touch the actual material or the glass. So I'll now put gloves in order to put the glass on the covers, on the slides. Just a second. When I'm actually taking the videos and operating the microscope, I do not use the gloves because it's very, very difficult to do it. But at that point, the samples are already prepared or under the microscope, so I have less problem with the feeling contamination because the slides are prepared already. But yes, you need gloves. I mean, gloves are important for the critical part of placing the cover on top of the slide. And again, I must say, this is, the issue that every time that I do like that, it's just that take something from the ground in my room, in the kitchen, wherever it is, I'm getting like a horn of a car or any kind of like a noise from appliance in the home. And this is like that for years. It's not, it's many years like that. It's not only here in this hostel. It was like that in my mother's apartment. It was like that in the apartment that I rented in Shoam. Just, to understand what kind of a terror I live in. Of course, it's just, one aspect of the terror. There is a ton of like terror that, surrounds me like all my life, especially in a couple of years, with the purpose of driving me crazy, and also what they really want, and according to the infantile thought is even possible, I don't know why, is that I will presumably be converted to homosexuality. I know it sounds ridiculous, but you must understand that this is a tenet of their culture for many, many years, and they borrowed it from the Soviets, and they believe in it wholeheartedly, and they never they never stop believing in it. No matter how stupid it is. Like, I'm almost 40 years old. I've never shown any kind of never demonstrated, not even a bit, even a clue that of anything besides heterosexuality. I had a wife, I had girlfriends, I had one night stands. They know exactly what is my masturbation material, because it's the easiest thing in the world, and it's it's not extremely, no, not like on the Nimitz class ships, on this kind of women, and they know it very, very well, because it's the easiest thing in the world to know. But they never give up. They think that if they will beep their cars enough time when I hang to the ground to take something from the floor, wherever I am, like in my room, in the kitchen, whatever, eventually I will be an homosexual. And they've never give up. No, but I'm almost 40 now, with quite a bit of sexual experience, and never have demonstrated nothing. Nothing, not even, nothing that can even hint that I'm anything else than heterosexual. But no, they still think that if they'll honk the car every time that I'll do this, eventually I'll become homosexual like them, and this will be of a great benefit to them for many reasons that I've already outlined many times, and I can do it again, but this is not the correct video to do it. This is not the correct time. Mostly because, of course, they don't want any relationship between me and a Titan female abroad, because the idea is that all the Titan females in Israel just take my semen from the trash, which was what they did. After I masturbate, which is what they did until 2 years ago when I discovered it, and since then I put it just a second. Let's continue. Just wrap up the last slide. So this is the last of the slides. So up until 20 years ago, that's what they did. It was very important for them that I will not be married, and I will not have a girlfriend, and it's easy to control it without, because the Shabak is always on my tail, as they say. And it wasn't like that in the past, but it was certainly like it since my marriage, and when when I had 2 daughters, about 7 years ago. And so I must be single and without any sexual relationship, and I must masturbate into papers, toilet paper like that, and throw it to the garbage. This was already also, I was conditioned to it, presumably by my neighbor. That's how I discovered what they do. And since 2 years ago, they understand, and then they just take the stuff and they distribute it between them, like the Venusian females. And the idea is that all of them will get it, and they need it because it helps them in various ways. One of the ways, first of all, for many aspects, but the most important one is that they are having sex with the wizards, which is Venusian females that look like men. And this creates also kind of diseases. Some are very, very serious, and they know it for quite a bit. And as I said, there is a strong theory, because they do it for many decades. It's not something new. So there is a theory that actually AIDS was created that way, and that the famous Titan Ofra Chaza, which famously died from AIDS, actually received it just like that. The singer, Im Ninalu, Darkei Nadivim, Daltei Marom Lo Ninalu. So I really hope that now, eventually, Daltei Marom will also be Ninalu, because Daltei Marom is causing so much calamities on earth, and soon humanity will be destroyed by God because Daltei Marom did not Ninalu. So Im Ninalu, or as Chayot Shaom Ratzo Vashov, Anyway, this caused AIDS, right, probably, but it caused many other diseases. And one of the ways to clean their body from it is using the yellow mirrors that you've seen under the microscope today and yesterday and the day, I mean, in many other videos in this channel. So they don't, but I mean, the worst nightmare is that I will discover the truth about myself, and then I will just be in a sexual relationship with this titan from abroad. And so I will not, presumably, I will not even live in Israel, and certainly will not masturbate into papers. It's not the only way why, they want to convert me presumably to homosexuality, but it's one of the reasons. And since 2 years ago, I almost always take care that, to put these, the toilet papers in these clay balls. Throughout the years, the last 2 years, I've had several hundreds of this, and this is not exaggeration, several hundreds of those. Each one of them is like one time that I masturbated and put it like in this kind of a ball. And most of them I destroyed like in all sorts of ways that they cannot get it. But still several thousands are left, I think, in the storage or in storage in my mother's apartment and also here. But there were hundreds of them, and mostly they are destroyed. I know that there was a ton of money, but I cannot sell it. No one will ever let it sell it. Never let me sell it. I'm a slave. I cannot sell anything at all. And they want it for free. This is one of the paradigms in Israel that I will give it for free. So, this is why one of the main reasons why you hear these honks every time that, from the car, every time that I do this, something like that, because, hang to the ground, because according to the Soviet method, this converts the person to homosexuality. I wish this was a joke, but it's not. This is my life, and this is life in Israel, the cruelest totalitarian country that ever existed in the history of this world. This is hell. So, having said that, let's wrap up this box, and we should do it very, very gently because I want to. Yes, so it will still be airtight. Put it back where it was. Now, I will spill a little bit of, I will clean it very gently, like the surface, very, very gently, because that's where I put the microscope. Not directly on it, but still. So now I remove the gloves because it's very difficult to work with the gloves and with the microscope. We also close the window because there is only one thing that you get from the window, which is noise. Of course, this is Israel. And I'll open the air condition because it's very, very hot in here. And let's start to take the samples. Okay, so it's going to be a long video, but it's important for me to do it like in one like piece of continuous video because I wanted to get it done and presumably continue with the political and historical series, unless there is a kind of like I'll change my mind, of course, or anyone can give me like an extremely emergency reason why should I have more, samples right now. Like if there is something that, that you found, I understand that. I have very little, if at all, background in life sciences. So maybe you've seen something that because of your knowledge in the life sciences requires some kind of like immediate attention. In that case, I do not mind to leave like the historical and political series for a while and to get back to more biological and robotical biological research and specifically microscopic examination of the various containers. Okay, let's start. So we should start with the one that which is out from the beginning, like, I mean, with the one that, I mean, that there is not much stuff in here, so it's you can, so, but I'm sure that in the microscopic level we can see a lot, I mean, a lot of things. I mean, there shouldn't be much material on a slide. I always put too much because I'm kind of like greedy. So this is like the one from the cookie jar. So let's start together. I mean, without too much fuss, let's just start. Very nice life form. Again, this was sealed, like it was air. I mean, only the air that was there, I mean, when I closed it, like more than a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. But I mean, other than that, there was no circulation, no new air. Like in Israel. Very nice. We don't see ton of neros, but we see small ones. I mean, we don't see ton of big ones, but we certainly see bigger ones. This is interesting, actually. So let's zoom into it. Definitely a nero, without any doubt. It's kind of like a stone inside it, right? Very interesting. Like a nero with a stone. Many smaller neros. Let's get back to 64. As I said many times, Venusians are not like, I mean, like good by nature. I mean, if they are raised in a lizard society, they become lizards. And the Venusians that were raised in Israel after the bicycle saga that I will hope I will soon conclude. I mean, at least this series, they became the worst lizard of all, and they are the worst of the worst. the Titan females that now lives in Israel, there is no worse creature than them. Like there is no more disgusting and in any given possible way than them. Of course, they shouldn't have brought here from the begin with. I mean, they should have stayed in their own planet and raised in their own planet, and not kidnapped as babies and raised in lizard society by the lizard people. But this is maybe we'll speak about it like as the aftermath of the bicycle series, because it relates to the bicycle series that I mean I will hopefully I'll conclude today, maybe even in a short while, if I'll have the energy after this video. Very interesting. Just saying, I mean, I've spoken about it at length, but I mean, just to remind you that, I mean, many of those like new generation of lizard Venusians are working as operators for the Shabak in the Mossad. This is very common. Like the people that you see around me are not Venusians, of course. They are, you know, what I call taxidermies, which means mostly homosexual and pedophiles from trash cans of all over the world that are used as actors for the intelligence organization, and they don't have brain at all. I mean, they mostly just say whatever, I mean, the lizard, the Venusian lizards are telling them in the ear to say, using the cochlear chip or other methods. They are really the worst of the worst, the Venusian females of today that lives in Israel, at least those that lives in Israel. I'm not certain that everybody like outside of Israel is like that, but I mean they still need to prove otherwise. This is a lively Nero. Another lovely Nero. And another lovely Nero. Great. And another lovely Nero. All of these are all are created, like, I mean, and lived in an airtight container. I mean, with air, but I mean, no circulation of air, which means that, again, they are doing great in such places. And also, we've seen quite a bit of life forms that probably do not require oxygen. So, okay, this was one. Without much, I mean, without much speech, let's take a look at what we've seen in this. The container that contained a very high amount of pee, and all the water from the original container. It contains, I mean, high density of both life forms and Neros. So we have a pretty big object here. I mean, certainly not non-microscopic. It's interesting to see what exactly is this. Is it kind of like, I mean, is it like, I mean, a life form, or perhaps kind of like, I mean, something like, I know, bacteria, I mean, like marine bacteria, I don't know. We see many Neros here, which is great. Many Neros, great. In good shape. I'm happy. All the life forms. This was not completely airtight, so should be able. I mean, life form should be able to create it here more easily than in the airtight containers. And now we enter like the big object, like the territory of the big object. And I think I probably cannot say what it is because it's too big. Certainly something biological or pseudo-biological, but again, you tell me. I think it looks just too big. I mean, many times big things, I mean, it's difficult to see, I mean, to focus on anything. This looks like a Neo within the boundaries of this monster. It's too thick to focus, sorry. It's something biological. I mean, I'm happy to get advices on what, but I mean, or pseudo-biological. But what exactly is it? I mean, and of course, the fact that it survived in an airtight container for so long means that, I mean, it's probably not of completely Earth's origin, but who knows? Who knows? Nice. Okay, so other this big blob that I don't know what it is, we don't see much interesting thing here. We've seen Neros, we've seen the normal like worm-like life forms. This is a nice Nero here. Okay, so let's I mean, this is a very big and warm. So let's stop. I mean, with this one. I mean, let's get to the next one, which is which we took from the terrarium. And I mean, from my limited experience, I didn't have a lot of investigations with this one, because from the limited experience, I've seen that it's actually it's not a very good container for the Neros to flourish inside. And my initial guess is that because just been there is like a lot of oxygen, because of like, I mean, it's not like liquid. I mean, you know, there is like much like gaps of air between all the stones and dirt. But maybe, I mean, it was a while since I checked it, so maybe, I mean, after a while I mean, we could have seen like interesting stuff anyway. But I must say that, I mean, the initial investigation didn't like show very promising results as far as the Neros and their creation go. Can you identify this creature? I don't know. So again, this is terrarium material with a little bit of alcohol, so we'll be able to actually watch it under the lens, like in a better way, because otherwise it's difficult in that kind of microscopy, like the normal kind, like the backlight. I mean, the basic one. So this one, I mean, this sample aligns with what I've thought about this aquarium, that is not a good one for Neros. And yet, again, probably because, I mean, it's dirt and no liquid, and certainly no oil, which is their preferred like liquid for their own survival and well-being. Okay, so not very interesting, as I thought it's gonna be, but I mean, good to verify. So now, perhaps the most like bizarre container of all, which is the metal one, which is completely airtight and based on wax, on beeswax, and also honey wax, but mostly beeswax and water, not much water from the aquarium, that contain both liquids and life forms. But it's mostly wax and in completely airtight metal environment that was exposed to relatively strong magnetism, because I placed a big magnet, like on a glued big magnet to its to the bottom of the metal container. So we already see very interesting neurons, fat ones, which is great. So we see Neo's working on stuff. I mean, they manifestly work on all sorts of like projects, but it's difficult to say what they're actually doing. Perhaps they are enriching the fuels, perhaps they are creating life forms, and perhaps they create, I mean, things that are not life forms. Like, I mean, they can create other stuff as well, of course. And this is a huge subject of its own, but I mean, I've spoken about it quite a bit. I cannot speak about it right now, like, I mean, in one sentence. This is huge, like their ability, this is very interesting one, very fat one. Their ability to create other things, not only life forms, is also greatly documented in this channel, and it's a very interesting subject. So we see big ones, small ones, definitely we see Neos. Again, it's this I mean is another proof that these creatures do not need oxygen or air in order to survive, because this one was completely airtight and almost filled to the brim with, I mean, things that, I mean, wax and oil and things like that. So it's another proof that they live well inside this kind of environments, and they do not die and even multiply. But I'm not certain what they actually did, I mean, or what they wanted to do. Like, I mean, what's the... Like they created all sorts of stuff that I cannot say what exactly it is. By the way, if you ask why do the Titan females in Israel still having sex with the wizard, like the females that look like a male, if they know that it creates diseases? So there are two reasons. First, they think that forever they will be able to just take my flesh and blood, I mean, from me for free. I mean, of course, using terror, and they can easily, I mean, employ this terror because of their. Not all of them, but many of them are working as operators and propaganda manufacturers in the intelligence organizations of Israel. So, I mean, it's easy for them to pull the strings. So I will be a miserable person. And the second answer is that, I mean, they are just Israeli in their nature, because they grew up here. And one of the main tenets of being Israeli is to repeat the same mistakes again and again. What about the rest of the world? Like no Israeli ever inside the Shabak or the Mossad ever even thought like for a second about it. It's not their concern at all. Fuck all of you. So this is the second slide from the wax container. Ofra Chazav was extremely popular when I was a young child. There was always this rivalry between her and Yardena Arazi, which was another singer that was not a Titan and they did not die of AIDS. But it was like two opposing, sides in a cultural war. I mean, who do you admire most? Most? I mean, are you in the Ofra Chaza side or the Yardena Arazi side? I admit that both, as a child back in the day, in the 80s, as a young child, and up until today, I think that, I must say that Ofra Chaza was the better, was the more significant and talented of the two. But she was also a Titan and died of AIDS, and we have good reasons to believe how it came to be. But yeah, she was an important singer. She was an important singer. So we see Neros here again. This is very similar to what we've seen in the previous one, which means we see Neros and they work on all sorts of stuff that, it's difficult to say what they're doing. Perhaps it's just enrichment projects that, just change the chemical properties of the wax, but perhaps not in a way that is easy to say just by watching it. At least if you don't search for something. This is a Nero that looks like a gate, right? Because it's kind of a different scene in the inside. Very interesting. More Neros that are somehow gate-like in their appearance, which is interesting. This one looks like it either creates a new life form, like a ciliate or something, or it eats it, it consumes it. Very nice Nero. Maybe we'll zoom in. Wow, this is amazing. It's like a new planet in the other side. Wow. So nice. Okay, so that's enough for now, I guess. And maybe after I eat breakfast, and I will continue with the new chapter of the bicycle mechanism. Hopefully let's see you in a while, and I hope you enjoy this the investigation. I think that it will be enough for now. We've had 12 slides, the last 3 days, and I think it's enough for now just to get a hang of what's going on in the containers. And let's continue with the political and historical projects, at least for the next couple of days. and please rescue me and my daughters from this Nazi hell. We need arms and legs to rescue us from this Nazi hell. We live in a Nazi hell. Israel is a Nazi hell.